Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. I am your host, Megan Hardy, and I'm the founder of Fitness Uncharted, which is my fitness and nutrition coaching company designed to help women build muscle, lose fat, improve your metabolism, and have complete food freedom. And today I am talking to you ladies or gentlemen who have ever said something along the lines of, I know what to do, but for some reason I'm not getting results. Womp womp. I'm talking to you. And before we jump in, I want to say I gotta get through this because it's my niece's birthday, and she just got a cell phone, her first cell phone. It's like the minimum, like she can only call certain people, that type of thing, right? Whoever her mom and dad program into it, whatever. But I am one of those people, and I'm going to be giving her one of her first phone calls to say happy birthday on her phone versus having to call her through my sister's phone. So, anyway, very, very important business to attend to. But I want to address this topic of, okay, I know what to do, but Megan, I'm not getting results. Or like, I have so much knowledge, I do so much research, I have tried all the things, and I am just not seeing progress or results for how hard I'm working and all that I'm doing. If you have ever thought or said something like that to yourself or to me or to someone else in the health or fitness space, this is for you. If you feel like you know what to do or have all the knowledge but aren't getting results, first of all, I would challenge you on that. Like, I would challenge you on saying, I have all the knowledge or I know what to do. Because if you know exactly what to do, why aren't you getting results? Right? Like, okay, there's something missing. So if there's something missing, that means you don't know what the missing link is, which means you don't know exactly what to do, right? I know that's the case, has been the case for me in the past with something that I feel like I'm not seeing progress or changes, but I feel like I know a lot of information about it. Well, there's probably something I'm missing, right? Also, the sign of someone who knows a lot of information is someone who can realize how much more information they don't actually know yet. That they, once you learn more, you realize, holy crap, there's this whole other world of information out there that I don't even know about. For example, I'll give you a personal example. I am a nutrition and fitness coach. And the more that I learn about nutrition, the more I realize I don't know. It's the craziest phenomenon. I do more and more research, more and more studying. Things are always evolving, always changing. And I'm like, holy crap. The more I realize, like, the more I've actually gotten experience under my belt, the more clients I've worked with, the more years I have behind me, I realized there's even more I didn't know, or I never knew I didn't know, right? When you are earlier on in your learning journey, you do think you know it all. And that's a sign of someone who doesn't know it all. So when you realize there's so much more to learn, that actually is proof that you are starting to learn more. There's so much information out there, and there is always more new information coming out. That's why, like, guys, nutrition and fitness is such a gray area in space because every time you think you know something, there's a new study like completely negating or contradicting that thing, right? Like, I have changed my mind throughout I've given this example a couple times, and I've changed my mind on intermittent fasting like 800 times because there's more and more research that comes out about, okay, the benefits versus the contraindications for men versus women for different, seasons of life, like perimenopause or menopause, for different times of a woman's cycle. There isn't just a blanket statement that you can give of like, yes, it's good or no, it's bad. It could have a time and a place for a certain purpose, right? So I've literally changed my own stance on that. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I think if you know you're talking to a good coach or even someone who can recognize or acknowledge they don't know it all or they're not always right, that's someone that maybe you should listen to. Because I can honestly say that I've told people one thing about intermittent fasting. And I'm like, I've kind of changed my mind on that based off new information that's come out about it, right? So, and that's okay to do. It's okay to realize, like, maybe I wasn't doing the right thing. Like, with more information, information can be power, but it's also got to be the right application of that information. And so yeah, I'm the person who like as a nutrition and fitness coach, I wouldn't tell you I know it all because I don't. The more podcasts I listen to, the more research I do, the more courses I take, I'm like, holy guacamole. There's so much I don't know. It's a little overwhelming. As a fitness and nutrition coach, you guys, I get overwhelmed with the amount of information that is out there. And I have to, okay, bring it back down, right? I have to really hone it in for myself or hone it in for the person that I'm talking to. What are the big rocks or the big important things for this person? Because I could have them doing literally 8 million things that Google or whatever tells me that this person could do. And I have to decipher and figure out what is the most important thing, right? And you could also say that realizing you don't know everything is like humility, right? And in some ways it is. Like, let's not be egotistical and be like, yeah, I know it all about anything in life because, that humility is important. And maybe it is humility, but it's more so recognizing that you don't have all the answers, which then helps you because it leads you or leads me to asking better questions and to look at things with like a little less bias. So, first of all, if you know and can recognize you don't know everything, you'll ask better questions, you'll get more clarity. Like, this is another reason why someone will ask me for advice. And before I give them advice, I probably ask them 10 plus questions, which might seem annoying, but I'm like, how could I pretend to know to give you a specific response if I don't ask better questions and have more information, right? So it's going to help when you realize you don't know everything because you're going to ask better questions. And then number two, you're going to look at things with a little bit less bias. And I say a little less bias because let's be honest, like, of course, we all have some bias, right? Just life experience, what we've known in the past, we're all going to have a little bit of bias. But if you think you know it all, then your bias is going to be a lot stronger and you may actually be blind to the solution. For an example, take the intermittent fasting example. If I was like biased because I've told certain people one thing, or I've even done intermittent fasting in different ways for myself, and it kind of worked for me this way or that way, and I wasn't looking at all the other information or research, but it worked for me in this one season of life, in this one time frame, in this, 118, 16/8, whatever type of approach, I could be biased to say like that's what works, right? But that could actually blind me to the solution for someone else where that isn't going to work for them, right? So like if we can recognize that we don't know it all, we could have a little bit less bias and that could actually help lead us to the right solutions for ourselves or for someone else. So I don't pretend that I know everything. Like, that's why if someone asks me a question, even if it's within my realm, quote unquote, realm of expertise, in the nutrition space or whatever, if I don't know the answer, I will say, or if I'm like not confident that this is the right answer for them, I might say, you know what, I'm not sure on that. Let me do a little more research or a little more digging and get back to you. And I'll look into it a little bit more. I think that is one of the best things if you're not sure, again, whether it's for yourself or someone else, to say, you know what, I don't know about that. Let me go do a little more research and try to figure that out, right? Way better than just using your bias, being like, okay, I want to sound like I know what I'm doing, or I'm biased towards this one thing because it worked for me one time, or it worked for Susie Q, and I guess it works for everyone, right? That's just not, it's not the case, not true. So if you think you know it all or you think you have it all figured out, that could be the very reason why you are not seeing results. So this episode, guys, is a little of my loving slap in the face, truth with grace, truth and grace. This is something that my coaches and I talk about all the time, my other coaches in the Fit U. We talk about, even with our clients, we have to deliver truth. People are not paying us to be their friends, although we are friends with our clients. We have great rapport with them. We have fun with them. We're like, hey, you didn't pay us to just be your friend. You have friends, I'm sure. You're paying us to be your coach, which means I have to deliver truth, but I can deliver it with grace too, because I'm also a human. I'm not perfect. And I don't expect perfection. And perfection is an illusion, right? We've talked about that in prior episodes. So, but you do have to be able to deliver truth with grace, right? So that is what this episode is. If you find yourself in the place of, I have a lot of information, I have a lot of knowledge. I know what to do, but I'm not getting results. I'm talking to you, which leads me to my next point. The reason that you're not getting results is not a lack of information, it's a lack of accountability or a lack of consistency with the right things. And you guys, the right things does not always mean more. More is not always better. Okay. More is not always better. Let's say it together. More is not always better. Because my type A overachievers are just like, I should be doing more. Or like, what am I missing? Right. And you may actually need to backtrack. You might not be missing something. There is no lack of information now in today's world, right? With Google, with Pinterest, with podcasts, social media. If anything, there is too much information, which is why people are getting stuck because they fall into one of two categories. Because of the like information overload, people are either one, you probably fall into one of these camps. Either one, they're getting analysis paralysis and they don't do anything, or they're not doing enough of the right things because they're just like they're frozen. Like they might be doing some things, but then they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Like I've heard five different takes on if a vegetable is good or bad for me. Like I don't even know. Like, do I eat vegetables? So I don't know. I'm paralyzed now, right? It's like information overload, analysis paralysis. Or the other camp, camp number two, is they are trying to do it all and they don't need to do it all. This is my type A overachievers and a lot of women I have talked with recently who are quote unquote doing it all and not seeing results. I would say this is like a very large majority of the women I work with or the women I talk to are fall into camp two. And also people who sign up for coaching programs, they tend to fall in one of these camps. They're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what to do. So I need help. I need a coach. Or you have the person who's like, I want more balance, more food freedom. I'm not seeing results and I'm working way too dang hard to not see results. I need help. Right. This is a lot of people. You're actually doing the most, and the most is not always best. So my suggestion and encouragement to you is to work with a coach or someone who can help you figure out what the most important big rocks are. And when I say big rocks, those are the things that are going to move the needle the most. Okay. There's so many things that you could be doing. I'm going to give you guys an example of someone I talked with recently and all the things she's doing. She doesn't need to do half of that, right? There is a few big rocks she needs to focus on more consistently and then remove the stress of all those little pebbles she's also focusing on. And those big rocks are what's going to move the needle. And then she can get rid of all the pebbles who are just stressing her the F out, right? So, like, focus on the big rocks that are going to move the needle. And if you think, me saying to get a coach, that's just my bias talking because I am a coach. Maybe you're right. You really might be right because I have bias, right? But I can tell you for a fact, even coaches need coaches. I've had all kinds of coaches myself because everyone, even coaches, need accountability. One of my coaches who works with me, she has competed in bodybuilding shows in the past. She's a current coach herself. She's well educated. She's well informed. She has not only the knowledge, but the application of working with clients. She herself, right now, is working with a coach, right? So coaches use coaches. It's not selective because like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. So you need a coach. No, everyone needs accountability. Everyone needs that second pair of eyes, that objective third party to see what they're doing and who's not going to be so subjective like we are when we're looking at ourselves, right? But let's say you don't want to hire a coach. Okay, cool. That's your choice and you're entitled to it. Then what you need to do is you need to do more research and more trial and error to figure out what, needs to be added or what things need to be removed to start seeing results. And this is another issue for a lot of people because they're like, I'm already spending so much time trying to figure it out. The beautiful part of working with a coach is they can help expedite that process for you. Figure out some of those things so you don't have to figure it out and take up more time trying to figure it out and like expedite that, right? But if you're going to do it on your own, you need to do more research to figure out, okay, for me and my body and my goals and with trial and error, figure out, okay, what are the things that I need to add, or possibly, very, very possibly, what are the things I need to remove if I want to see change and results? Because, quote unquote, having the knowledge obviously isn't working, right? If you're listening to this, if you've nodded your head to any of this, like, yeah, I've felt that way before, something's not working. So, like, the knowledge alone isn't enough. And again, for my analysis paralysis peeps, hello, hey there, it's probably going to be adding in more of the right things. If you find you just kind of get paralyzed by the information, for you, it might actually be like, okay, we're not doing enough of the right things consistently enough. So let's add in a thing here or two. Let's, yeah, probably remove a few of the not so helpful things, but it's going to be adding more of the right stuff and doing that consistently. But for my type A overachiever ladies, hey, I see you. That's me too. It might actually mean removing some things and refining other things. You are not the person who's going to need a complete life overhaul. You are not the person who just needs to cut out soda or stop eating so much dang junk food, right? You are already doing the things, but you might be doing too much and we need to pull back and remove some stuff, and or we need to refine what you're currently doing. And you might need a few subtle tweaks to what you're currently doing that will move the needle for you. So this is a catch 22 because it's a beautiful thing. You're not starting from scratch. Again, you're not the person just like way overeating or just eating junk, who, for that person, it's kind of, I say it's a catch 22 because it's actually in some ways easier because if they just stop drinking 10 sodas a day, they can lose weight, right? Or see changes. For you, my person who's already quote unquote eating clean, working out 4 or 5 days a week, getting your steps, getting your sleep, getting your workouts, like for you, it's actually you have a solid foundation, which means you're off to a good start, but it's actually harder in the sense of it's the little tweaks that make all the difference and the biggest changes. So, and it's going to be either removing some stuff because you're doing too much or refining. That's going to be helpful. And so, I want to give you a quick example of someone I talked to in recent weeks. And this is someone who we have talked on Facebook. She's not a client, but she probably does need a coach objectively. She probably does. And she told me some of the following things that she's doing. Okay. So I'm just literally gonna, I wrote down some of them. I'm gonna share them with you. And this is just some of our conversation. Okay. Are you ready? Because it's a list, it's a laundry list. Okay. So prepare yourself. This is someone who is asking for my feedback, advice, and she shared with me she's hypothyroid. She's resistant to weight loss. She's tried intermittent fasting and straight up starving herself. And she's tried low carb to quote unquote metabolically switch. She's on HRT or hormone replacement therapy, if you're not familiar, which a lot of the ladies listening are because we're a lot of us getting towards perimenopause, menopause, but she's on HRT and thyroid meds. She told me she realizes that low carb is not good for thyroid issues, but she's scared to introduce more carbs. She's had disordered eating in the past. She lifts 4 times per week. She does HIIT or high intensity interval training 1 to 2 times per week. She's getting 10 to 14,000 steps a day, Pilates 1 day per week, sleeps 7 to 8 hours per night, does breath work, sauna, meditates, and takes a quote unquote bin of supplements. She's worked with a functional medicine doctor. She's reverse dieted. She's tried GLP-1s for a while. Those are the shots, you guys, the weight loss shots. She uses a CGM or continuous glucose monitor. And she told me it stresses her out because every time she sees a sugar spike on her CGM, she does air squats or goes for a walk. She gets her blood work monitored periodically. She doesn't ever eat junk food or added sugar. She doesn't cheat or go out maybe more than once a month. She uses an in-body scan to track her body fat, but anytime she loses weight, she loses muscle and she has a hard time losing fat and building muscle. Not to mention, she would quote unquote love to eat pizza and fries and bread and ice cream from time to time. But she feels like, how could she? Because she said, when I can't get the needle to move when I'm already trying so hard, how could I ever incorporate these things? Because I can't even get the needle to move when I'm trying this hard. Y'all, this is a prime example of doing too much. Did you, and let's just kind of like pull out words that she shared. Did you hear what she said? She said she's scared. She's scared to eat more carbs. She's stressed out about the things she's currently doing, like using the CGM and monitoring so much. It's stressing her out. She's trying so hard. So she's got just like the burnout and the fatigue, the mental fatigue, probably physical fatigue of trying so hard with this with no results. She has no lack of information. She has, quote unquote, all the knowledge, but it's not working. So, this is someone where if I was working with her, I would probably clean up what she's doing. I would refine and tweak things, and I would probably remove half of this. I'd be like, stop doing this, and this. Okay. Just like all together, stop it. Stop it right now. And then let's refine these other things and let's get really consistent. Let's make the refinements we need and do that really consistently over a period of time, and then we'll layer in other things as needed, or we'll even continue to remove other things as needed. That's going to be a process too, especially if psychologically you've been doing the most. Psychologically it can be really hard when you feel like you're just not doing enough anymore because it almost feels too simple. But there is such a thing as, like, you've probably heard of physical versus perceived stress. Like, physical stress is on the body, like, yeah, you cut yourself, you have inflammation in the body, like, your body trying to heal itself, an injury, whatever. There's physical stress, or even working out is a physical stressor, a good one, but a stressor. And then there's perceived stress. So perceived stress, you guys, has a physiological response in our body as well. So for all my ladies struggling with their hormones or adrenals, things like that, right? Your body, it has a physiological response to your perceived stress, and you are stressing yourself the F out, doing the most and doing all these things, right? So finally, this is my rant. This is my ranty episode. I have one in, like, I don't know, every 40 episodes, I'll have like a ranty one. But finally, to wrap this up, I'm not saying you don't know what you're doing. I'm actually saying the exact opposite. You know a lot of things. I'm not saying you don't have the knowledge, but obviously there is a missing link. And, because if you're not getting results, then that really begs the question, what are you missing? And that's where having an objective, knowledgeable third party that you trust to look at what you're doing, a coach could be great. That could be very helpful. And if you want help, you can apply for one-on-one coaching by clicking on the link in the show notes, and we'll schedule a free consultation. We can chat more about you, about your goals, about what you're currently doing, and what maybe you need to stop doing or start doing. But, we want to see if you'd be a good fit for one of our programs. But at the end of the day, that's a free consultation call to hopefully give you more clarity about, okay, I'm doing the most, I need to stop it. Or I need to refine. I need to know, what am I missing, right? But if you choose not to do that, no worries. Keep listening to the podcast and absorb all the information that you can. I just ask that you actually make some changes so you actually see the results. Okay. So it might take a little more trial and error on your own, a little more time, a little more processing, a little more research to figure it all out for you and your body. But, once you do that information, you have to make changes to see the results, because information without proper application is useless. And again, you have to have proper application of that. So that's it. That is your loving, smack in the face. I had to share it because it was on my heart. I've had a lot of conversations like this, and I think it's because we are living in a world of information overload where we feel like we know it all, but we are still missing something. So either go do more research, hone in on what you feel like you need to do, trial and error it, or get some help. Get help from someone. It is not a weakness to seek help. It is actually a strength, and you could expedite the process for yourself. So that's it, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you on the next episode.